resistance? Is that where we are? Well, right now we're on the watch party here with me. I'm Jayar Jackson, and I feel like I have to get an early start today. So as you early nerds get here, there's actually some benefit to you being here early because I'm gonna get going on things. It's a Monday. I get cut off most times on Mondays and have to come back and talk about more things because I'm jumping on the damage report right after this. But it's been a weekend, you guys. It's been a weekend. In fact, it was a last week leading into a weekend of events, of changes of hearts, changes of mindsets, changes of complacency. Put it that way, from many Americans, and I'm encouraged by it. This is what I've been hoping for. This is the type of things I've been hoping people see, even folks that understand what is it we've been doing, what we've been looking at, and what we've been accepting from these fascist MAGA folks in the White House and apparently all over the country. It's about time people are sick and tired of it. And it apparently took the murder of Renee Good for that to happen. It sucks that it takes them to see another person, by the way, being murdered by these folks for the resistance to finally come. So as you guys file in, I appreciate you. Glad you're here. As the folks who have come in on time will probably be frustrated if they want to get in on the very beginning of this first story. I apologize. The very beginning of this first story, I think, is very important. And I feel like it's something that many Americans are afraid to really see, say, or agree with. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm not going to waste my first couple minutes that I said just rambling on about myself. I had a decent week and I did other things. I detached for a second, but I'm right back in today. I'm invigorated and I have absolutely zero Nas energy drinks inside of me. But we do have this gentleman who was speaking to Status Coup, who are out in the streets in Minnesota as these guys are trying to terrorize more people. In fact, are terrorizing more people. But this particular gentleman had some things to say, and a lot of people felt what he was saying.
Compelled to be here today.
I came up here in 2020 after George Floyd was murdered, after I watched that video. And on Wednesday, I got word that Renee Nicole Good was murdered in cold blood. And I made the decision right then and there that I was going to come up here one way or another. They fired the first shot. I'm not calling for peace anymore. I don't care what Fox News says. I don't care what that woman in the press room says. I'm not calling for peace. They fired the first shot. We have the Second Amendment for a reason. It's time for people to come back here with weapons and show these people that we're equals.
I can just feel the emotion coming off of you right now. You've been wearing it on your sleeve today, as I've seen you like have some interactions with other protesters here. Describe to me some of those emotions that you're feeling right now.
I'm angry. We knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen the minute they called the election in 2024. That's why what I did right when I knew the election was going to go the way it did, that's why I went and I bought my first gun. I used to hate guns. I used to think that it was insane that we have more guns than people in this country. And in reality, I still do think that it's insane that we have more guns than people. But if we've got people like these guys out here just terrorizing people, kicking in doors with no warrants, kidnapping people with no cause, and murdering people for trying to flee and for obeying a command to leave the area, and then shooting her in the face like that after she drops her kid off at school, we have to show up with guns. We have to. There's no other way around it. I don't care if I don't have a Minnesota carry permit. I'm unarmed right now, but this is the last time I show up to face these guys without a weapon. There's no way. I got shot with a pepper ball 5 minutes after walking in here. I never laid a finger on them. I never raised a hand to them. I've only been using my voice. The time for speaking is over. The time for niceties is over. The time for peace is over. They fired the first shot. It is time to end this shit by any means necessary.
You're talking about, potentially going to a dark place in this country. Do you foresee
We're there. This is the dark place. This is the dark time. We have people being sent to Salvadorian concentration camps. We got other countries being raided for their oil. We're in the dark time. There's no way out of this. There's no voting our way out of this. We can't wait till November. There's no waiting to the ballot box. We need to get to the bullet box. That's the only way. If there was another way, I'd be advocating for it. I've spoken peacefully. I've marched peacefully.
If you glance into a few of the people that were talking and responding to that, you'd see that they were saying he's saying what many people are thinking. He's saying what folks don't want to say out loud. He's saying what it is that people are feeling as they're being attacked. So when you're attacked for standing there using your voice, not raising a hand to anyone, and the attacks continue to come with weapons, deadly weapons, they expect the results to continue to be, well, maybe they'll start listening to us. They've already heard us. What they disagree with is that, this representative democracy, this place called America. That's what they disagree with. What they agree with is a fascist MAGA America. That's what they're trying to install. That's what they've been continuing to install. That's what comes with violence, aggression, and murder, which we all see on camera. We've seen the actual Department of Homeland Security say that it's illegal to film, to follow, to watch your people, that we pay money to carry out these illegal, aggressive tendencies and actions on us. They expect our money to go to them, and then we don't do anything about it. The man was just speaking his mind. As a matter of fact, he's saying what everyone always celebrated about those patriots that started this country. That had equal rights for everyone. That is, except for their enslaved people. But outside of that, this is what we've always wanted to celebrate in this country. Now we're afraid of celebrating it when that aggressive fascist government is at your doorstep, breaking in doors, kicking them in, assaulting your children, going on high school campuses, murdering people, and increasing the numbers to do so of masked agents. I mean, I don't think there's too many times that we can say it and not feel the energy coming from that guy. So let's stop being afraid of promoting when people say the things that so many people are thinking. Because this, I understand. That's what this government wants, so that they can declare martial law. Everything else that they've said they wanted, when it didn't happen, they declared it anyway. That's their plan. That's the whole purpose. They need us to participate in it, of course, for this civil war that all these white supremacists have always wanted in this country. But as, again, I've said it so many times in the past few days, the leader of the Heritage Foundation said, we're going to spill some blood. And if we don't spill some blood, we're going to just attack you anyway, and you're going to roll over and take it. Their objective is always the same. So that's a man in the streets speaking the truth. Do you guys know there's a Golden Globes that happened over the weekend too? I didn't give a damn. Actor Mark Ruffalo was stopped on the red carpet because he had a pen that was pretty small, but apparently the guy that was asking questions saw it and asked him about it. Here's some more truth.
Mark, what's the pin?
For Renee Nicole Good, who was murdered. We have a vice president who's lying about what's happening. We have we're in the middle of a war with Venezuela that we illegally invaded. He's telling the world that international law doesn't matter to him. The only thing that matters to him is his own morality. But the guy is a convicted felon or convicted rapist. He's a pedophile. He's the worst human being. If we're relying on this guy's morality for the most powerful country in the world, then we're all in a lot of trouble. So this is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today. I know I'm one of them. I love this country. And what I'm seeing here happening is not America. It's just not.
Mark, why do you feel that this platform is still useful to spread a message like this?
Listen, I want to pretend like this is, I want to be here to celebrate, and I am here to celebrate, and I'm proud to have a Golden Globe nomination. But also, this is not normal anymore. And so I don't know how I could be quiet, and I'm feeling a little sick, so it's hard to BS right now. So
because normally the idea is to BS. He's letting it all be known. We're not here to keep acting like things are great while we're celebrating Golden Globes nominations and victories and speeches. We're here to talk about the country we live in, the reasons why they have the opportunity to be in those positions, to be the actors and celebrities that folks all fawn over, but they're still human beings too. We like to detach that whole thing, but Mark Ruffalo at least is telling a little bit more truth on where he stands and where his mind actually is. But like I said, and like the title of this stream talked about, is the resistance here? Because again, people are taking to the streets to confront the folks who are already in the streets with guns out and are attacking, kidnapping, and victimizing so many people. Here's one of the scenes from up in Minnesota. I just want to give you guys some of the other perspectives outside of all the scary videos of people being assaulted. Sometimes, and maybe we should know this more so we can do it more, sometimes the American citizens come out and push back against the Gestapo. And when we outnumber them, there's more of us than there are of them. That's why they just, I think they just announced that they're increasing the ICE and Border Patrol, whoever it is, agents unleashed on the Minneapolis St. Paul area by 2,000 or another 1,000, 50% more than what they've already got there. They're increasing their numbers because they're ready for this fight that they keep starting. You're either going to roll over and then get assaulted, arrested, and kidnapped and disappeared and taken from your family, or you're going to fight back whenever these things happen. So when folks stand up against these cowards, what they end up being is, cowards, because that's who they are. Here's another instance. Like I said, I want to show you guys these instances of resistance that actually work. Here's another instance when they showed up in the Minneapolis area at a McDonald's. They tried to storm and go to the back room of this McDonald's. And you know what? Sometimes we see security guards in front of restaurants near the back door, and we just don't think anything of them. What are they really going to do? They're just there. There's a part-time job. This security guard took his job seriously.
You got to, well, you get up out of here, bro. Y'all get up out of here. Man, y'all, this private property, though. Yes, it is. This private property, bro. Real shit. Hey, right. Real shit. I'm with all the bullshit. Hey, I got the people. Yeah. I'm with her. Yeah, if you're not placing no order, you gotta do it. Because can y'all please leave the premises? Hey, but y'all can't come up here. Manager gives permission, we can. Well, what'd you say, huh? Yeah, you gotta. You ain't gonna stop. Y'all can't come back here. Y'all can't come back here, bro. I'm talking to the manager. Well, you talking to security. Right. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. Yes, I am. You're in charge from the manager. I'm in charge. The proprietor here gives you. No, I'm the owner of the. Yeah. If you don't have to work, you can't come back here. You see this shit out? They act like they hearing them there. They act like they hearing it there. Y'all see some water. Y'all see some money come out their pocket. Now they eat off nothing. It's gonna go back on. I'm standing on my shit. And I got they're not gonna violate my rights at all. Who not want back there? They don't want nobody. They ain't see nobody come in. That's the problem. Nobody came in here. That's the fucking part. Yeah.
Someone asked, who do they want back there? The security guard said, they don't want nobody. There's nobody that they want back there. Again, as this ICE officer also told him who he's in charge of, who put him in charge. Well, you're just put in charge by the manager. No, the owner of this store hired me to secure this place. So part of securing this place is keeping aggressive people who would like to, disrupt the peace that's going on in this establishment and disrupt this place and maybe tear it apart as they snatch people over counters over nothing. His job is to keep the peace. Yo, what if more of the resistance comes and starts whooping these cowardly agents' ass in the middle of the store? Maybe he's trying to keep that from happening. Because, these guys are cowards who can't fight. All they have is guns in their gangs to surround people, intimidate them with. That's what they've got. So if nothing else, he could be saving their asses. And maybe a little bit sooner rather than later, they may start realizing that, because it keeps happening. Like I said, the resistance is coming from parking lots. It's coming from the middle of McDonald's. And apparently it's also coming from gas stations as they keep running up on people. Think about this. a gas station up in Minneapolis where they're trying to attack more people with guns out. What could go wrong at a service station with a bunch of guns out?
How do I know you're a citizen? If you go two ways. I can take you. Where were you born? Where were you born? Africa? Are you a U.S. citizen or you got naturalized? U.S. You're naturalized? What year?
Get the fuck out of our city!
I'm not going to get out of your city, number one.
Yes, get the fuck out! Yes, you clearly. Oh, what does that say? Border Patrol. Yeah, you're a fucking Nazi. You work for the fucking orange fascists and chief. Yeah. Get the fuck out of our city, you Nazi piece of shit.
Number one, I'm not gonna get out of your city because I live here.
Oh, you want to make fucking. Okay, good for you. Good for you. You want to make fucking lampshades out of people's shit? Oh yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, Nazi piece of shit. Lampshades out of people's shit. Yeah, get the fuck out. Get out. Get the fuck out.
They talk a big game until enough people show up to run them out. Take your ass home, take your ass out of here. Now, there's many that are going to be responding and fighting back. That's why they're increasing their numbers. Like I said, because they're cowards and they need to increase their gang numbers because they're getting, shoved around a little bit now. And they're not used to that. Donald Trump and Stephen Miller's cowardly asses hiding from their golden towers in DC are telling them to go on the streets and carry out all of their white supremacist orders. And they've got all of their white supremacists and masked up and in sunglasses to make sure that we can identify them, which, by the way, after they've identified the guy that shot Renee Good just last week, they ran his ass out too. And they helped DHS. If you don't know this, DHS ran up in his house and helped his sorry ass move out. And they have him in some kind of protective custody from the American people that want his ass because he's a murderer and he's been getting, aided and abetted by the criminal in the White House. Isn't it weird how that works? The 34-time felon is keeping a murderer from accountability from the American people who pay them to do apparently the atrocities that they're doing. So let me show you. I keep calling them cowards, and we keep seeing them act like cowards. Here's one that's got a lot of bark, a whole bunch of bark and zero bite. Maybe someone should have kicked him in his. Here, let's watch this.
Today, we have your plate number. We saw you driving erratically, very dangerous to the public.
How you doing?
Good. How about
You're
you?
interfering with your operations.
Not
And you
at
can
all.
be arrested
Not at
under
all.
18
Stop
USC
doing that.
111.
Nope,
We will arrest you.
Not if
You
you're
have
not
been interfering with our operations.
You were following us yesterday.
Numerous
Watch
times.
what you're doing, dude.
Numerous times you've been
Not
interfering
interfering.
with our operations.
Not interfering.
Yes, you are.
No, I am not.
If you
Never got in
continue,
front of you.
you will be in handcuffs. You will be arrested. You will be
18
prosecuted.
U.S. Code 111. Get that through your head,
That's
dude.
a lot of numbers you just remember.
Yep.
Good job. I'm not breaking the law, and you fucking know it.
Yes, you are.
Not breaking the
Yes, you
law,
are.
and you fucking know it. Never got in front of everyone. Never.
One more time, and I will put you in handcuffs.
Bro,
One more time.
Bro.
Keep it up.
Step the fuck off. You piece
No,
of shit.
no, I'll
Yeah.
stand right here, pal. Right here all
And
day.
if I fucking touch you, then you're gonna fucking arrest me.
Right all day.
Yeah. Fuck you.
You're worthless.
Fuck you.
Worthless.
Fuck you.
You are.
Fuck you.
You have
Yeah.
no honor.
Hold your fucking dogs back. Hold your fucking.
Apparently, he didn't stand there all day like he said he would. He walked his ass away about 3.5 seconds later. All they are barking. They know it's a problem right now. They didn't expect the American people to stand up against them. They expected more of the same. They expected lazy. They expected a bunch of, cluelessness. They expected ignorance. They expected people to see a bunch of white guys with Nazis running around with masks on and sunglasses, shouting and yelling at people and arresting black and brown folks primarily. And they thought that that would fly because apparently they misunderstood the level of racism that pumps through this country. It's still pretty high because look how many people they've recruited to carry out, this racism. It even comes from positions of higher power. This is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been asking for. I was saying the sheriff up there in Minneapolis, he's saying a lot of good things, and I'm waiting for him to turn that corner. I have a feeling he's at the edge of turning that corner and finally using his law enforcement agencies, the people that he helps run, those folks to finally actually, enforce the law, to stand up against invading armies, against this rabid gang that's attacking its citizens, to protect and serve the citizens that pay them to do so. So, hasn't happened yet up in Minneapolis. I'm still waiting on him. I have a lot of good things to say about the guy. But it seems it tends to happen. It starts a lot of times with black women. I said this over on Turks and Jerks last year. I said it again this year on Turks and Jerks. We tend to get follow behind black women that finally say the things that the rest of us are thinking from the position where they can do something about it. This was from one particular woman. Her name, what's her name again? Rochelle Bilal. She's a sheriff up in Pennsylvania in the Philly area, I believe. And she was, they ran a video of what she said that went viral online to Todd Lyons here, as you see, and he's the ICE director. So the guy that's running the Gestapo police from whatever levels, because there's a bunch of them running these aspects of it, has to then respond to what it is that Sheriff Rochelle Bilal said about what her police are going to finally start doing.
This is a sheriff in Philadelphia who had a message about your agency on Thursday. Watch.
We are not going to whisk you away for them to hide your identity, because when you do it there, you're getting arrested. And so we stand here today with all those who stand against the made up fake, what you can call ICE, professional law enforcement. I don't call them none of that. If them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. You don't want this smoke, because we will bring it.
Those were on the record comments from that law enforcement official whose bio, by the way, is very heavy on DEI, the bio that she put out for herself. What is your response to those remarks?
Well, first off, Guy, anytime you pit law enforcement officers against law enforcement officers, it makes nobody safe. This is the exact type of political rhetoric that I've been saying ever since I had the opportunity to be the ICE director, that this increased rhetoric is what's causing the issues right now. You can't pit a local law enforcement officer against a federal law enforcement officer. We are out there trying to do a lawful law enforcement mission. And this rhetoric right here is pure example of what we're facing every day. And, I'm not one for like big, banter or bluster, but my message to the sheriff is try it. Try arrest my folks.
Oh, I can't wait. So again, Sheriff Rochelle Bilal decides to talk about how they're going to bring the smoke and actually going to arrest these folks for their illegal activities. These aren't professional law enforcement people. We've seen it. We see how they respond. We see how they act. We see how there's zero law behind what it is that they're trying to pull off in these cities. So finally, someone who's backing up and probably wants to stand up for professional law enforcement folks like she is, then she has to get confronted by this piece of trash, Todd Lyons. He doesn't speak big on all these. And did you notice something? Pause for a second. You notice these Fox News anchors on the big weekend show talk about how her bio is heavy in DEI. The racism is dripping with these folks. DEI is the new N-word. DEI, every time they talk about someone, is the new they're not qualified because they're too black. All of these folks on here are the water carriers. They are the state-run media. It's open and it's blatant. So they want to talk to the head of ICE, who says we shouldn't be pitting one law enforcement agency against another. In other words, get in line behind us. Maybe you should get in line behind normal law enforcement. I mean, as normal as it could be. Everyone apparently has to follow their king. It's not going to happen, bro. You can keep talking about how you think this makes sense and the second thing makes sense and the third. It doesn't. you're out here assaulting people. I don't think it can be overstated how much they're in the streets doing these things. So like I said, it starts with someone like Rochelle Bilal, right? And then Todd Lyons has tough words to say on Fox News about it, again, from some comfy studio. But sometimes it spreads. Here's Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner. Also, Philadelphia, like I said, sometimes, the energy has to start and then the dominoes start to fall.
If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here. Because if you do that here, I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office prosecuting it. That's how the law works. And you will do your time because Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me, ICE agents? Do you hear me, National Guard? Do you hear me, military? You're going to jail if you commit crimes in the city of Philadelphia. You will be accountable. The law applies to all of you. And I know that there are honest, decent, moral law enforcement officers out there by the bushel, including in ICE. This is not for you. This is for.
I don't even need the clarifications. Forget the clarifications. We know. I mean, I don't want to talk about all of the good guys. Are the good guys speaking up? I do have a couple of good guys that are speaking up in a second. But are the good guys speaking up? We'll know who the good guys are when they stop participating in this illegal action. All the ones that are participating in the illegal action based off of this wannabe dictator, those are the bad guys. And so we're talking about the bad guys. I don't need to mention the good guys. The good guys aren't doing it. We don't see them masked up, talking all this, aggressively running up in people's neighborhoods and shooting folks. That's not who we're talking about. So please don't. What's Larry Krasner? We don't need the clarifications. We understand. But maybe, just maybe, the resistance is here. Let's go ahead and make that grow a little bit more. Understand, everyone isn't afraid like they want us to believe. But every once in a while we get a gift. Every once in a while we get the perfect shot on camera of the perfect gift. And you know what? Sometimes it's ironic. Sometimes you got an ICE agent who doesn't know when ICE is right in front of him.
Pussy! Fucking pussy! Fucking pussy! Yeah, fucking pussy!
That's right. On his ass. I mean, no one even had to touch him. I'm surprised he didn't shoot at the ground because he was so upset about how he just got attacked by that Antifa sheet of ice under his sorry ass feet. Who was he running to go and attack anyway? ICE gets taken out by, ICE. Ironically, maybe he's not from there. I think we call that black ice. Maybe. It's been a while since I lived in wintry climates. I think so. He's probably really mad at that particular kind of ice. It was so good, bro. There was a second angle because, everyone's got their cameras out and you saw his sorry ass run away because he was embarrassed about how he looked. Here's a closer view.
Biden! Contact me, please! Go! Enough! Enough!
He cried in the car. His ass has been hurting for 3 days now. Once he slammed on, he's like, oh, let me turn on the seat warmers because my ass is hurting so much. Please, someone help me out. And you know what makes it even better? You saw the celebrations going on in the streets for the ironic ass whooping that guy took. Even better, some people synced up the two moments at the best time. I'm enjoying this. So let's watch the synced up moment together of this dumbass.
Contact me, please! Pussy! Fucking pussy! Fucking pussy!
Enough!
I wish nothing but the rest of his life of back pain that originates from just at the bottom of his ass, at the top of his ass, bottom of his tailbone, straight up his back. I hope he limps the rest of his life. I hope he has to keep looking for the next person that can maybe solve his problems, maybe remedy it for him. Maybe Christy Norman can massage those knots out for his dumbass who's doing all of her, bidding. What losers these guys are. These are the people we're supposed to be afraid of. In case you needed one more instance, I just needed one more laugh. I don't like posting AI videos. I don't like looking at them all that much because I know the destruction that it has on our environment. But you know what? This one was a little funny. Sorry. Whatever, man. Breakdancing ass. I don't know. Maybe need like a cardboard cutout to go and spin his dumb ass on around on. These are the folks that are attacking us in the streets. These are the folks who run up and scream in people's faces and ram in doors. These are the guys, right? So when finally they find someone who's maybe alone or isn't surrounded by more, Americans that are looking to push back this occupying army, this is when they get aggressive. As you listen, this is the theme. Look at it. They find a woman by herself or relatively by herself, and this is how they act. And think about the words this guy is saying to this woman.
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Can you wait so long? No, you can't take my...
A sneak attack on her phone. What he doesn't want is people recording them. But haven't you learned from the past several days? Have you guys not learned? Take that into account. This is what they want. They want you to see this aggression. That's why they've got their own cameramen running around behind them as they aggressively attack folks. So they can then post it later or put some kind of music and then threaten more people that they won't come out and fuck them up. That's what they need. They don't want the fight. What they want is the aggression, the barking in your face, and the taking down of the cameras. But again, he goes attacking women. What a sorry piece of shit. As he told her, haven't you learned yet? We're attacking white women too. Didn't you know? We just killed one. So we're attacking white women too. Haven't you learned your lesson yet? I talked a couple minutes ago about the Philly DA who's talking about how they're definitely going to arrest these ICE officers and agents and illegal activity that's going on in the city if they decide to show up. And he had an aside where he was talking about maybe some of the good ones. And like I was saying before, the good ones are speaking out, about not doing this shit anymore. Here's one of them. She was talking to AJ Plus, and she was revealing how they operate.
I felt like a Nazi. Border Patrol agents, they hunt human beings, and that's just the fact.
This is Jen Budd, a former senior Border Patrol agent. For years, she was stationed in this mountainous region along the U.S.-Mexico border, capturing migrants who had just crossed.
Border Patrol has always been a racist institution. It's so steeped in racism and white supremacy and rape culture and brutality. If you train Border Patrol agents to see migrants as humans, then they would not be able to arrest the families. And they would not be able to put them in these small cells. You have to see yourself as different. And whether they're alive or dead, we call them bodies. We don't call them people. We don't call them human beings. And the people that are crossing this border are tonks. They're less than.
What is a tonk?
It's the sound that the flashlight makes when a Border Patrol agent hits them in the head with their flashlight.
That's terminology that Border Patrol uses?
Absolutely, 100%.
Do you think you partook in dehumanizing migrants?
Certainly I did. I mean, absolutely I did. I need to stand up and I need to be on the right side of history.
AJ Plus doing really good work. So that particular, former ICE agent, Border Patrol woman there, she points out how they call no matter who it is, dead or alive, bodies. We've talked about this. I've said it for a very long time. It's not like it's something I came up with. This is very straightforward, factually based things. They have to dehumanize people in order to have enough of this gang of people to treat them like lesser humans. It happened when people enslave others, they dehumanize them. These are just, like farm animals or something. In order to kill, maim, trade, sell, and torture these folks, you have to treat them like they're not humans. And think about that. Even lesser than bodies is tonks, the sound that you make while you're being aggressive from your position of power and control and tonking them on the top of their heads with your heavy ass mag flashlight. That's how they act. That's how they've always acted. It wasn't like just now. People like Francesca Fiorentini are talking about abolishing ICE. It's not just now. She's been saying it for a long time because we've known how they've always acted. Here's another one of those, maybe good guys now, since we have to talk about the good guys that are no longer doing this stuff and instead are exposing this stuff.
I've been specifically told, stop that black guy. These type of things need to be exposed.
Racism is a huge problem among U.S. border officials and agencies. That's according to 2 whistleblowers within Customs and Border Protection, which, along with ICE, is part of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. I talked to them in 2021 about a lawsuit they filed against the agency regarding their experience working at the U.S.-Canada border.
The specific thing that we're raising in this lawsuit is the extra scrutiny that's being given to brown people, African Americans.
And you participated in that. How did that make you feel?
It's demoralizing anytime that, you're asked to do something that you don't believe in.
Johnny told me in one particularly traumatizing incident, he was ordered to stop a black family driving back into the U.S. Amid the tension, Johnny ended up pointing his gun at the driver, whose children were in the back seat crying. No one was ultimately arrested.
I have children. As a father, you don't want to put your children through something like that. After that happened, I questioned why the family was pulled over, and I was refused an answer. We were told that it was a good look.
Johnny told me that after he complained to his supervisors at Customs and Border Protection, he was placed on desk duty. So you feel like you were retaliated against?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jermaine Broderick also sued the agency. As a CBP officer, how often did you see this type of racial profiling against non-white travelers occur here?
Frequently, very frequently. It happens too often.
I can't imagine it's an easy decision to become a whistleblower and file a lawsuit against your employer, the federal government.
It was not hard. It was actually the right thing to do, and that's the reason why I did it.
Jermaine and Johnny's case was ultimately settled in 2023.
Case is getting settled. Whistleblowers coming out. People talking about the way that these agencies are run and probably always have been run. They just took it to 3 to 4 to 5 to 10 notches higher because under this fascist guy, he took the atrocities that we already carry out in this country that enough people were trying to, pull the lid off of already, and he just took it to 10. He took our system and made it even more rabid than it already was. It was in place, bro. He just took it and made it his own. But those are the good guys that get weeded out by the bad guys. You don't have to step up and say, I'm not doing this anymore. All you got to do is speak out and they will get rid of you. That's what fascists do. They don't need people that within that even have a dissenting voice, that have a conscience. What you need to be is just a mindless foot soldier, the kind of mindless foot soldier that runs up on high school campuses and attacks teenagers. Here's one of those teenagers from that Roosevelt High School situation happened right after Renee Good was shot and killed. They ran up on his high school, started attacking more folks there, pepperballing and spray at these kids. Here's one of them. I think we should hear their voices.
From Roosevelt High School. I am a senior at that school, and less than 48 hours ago, our school was abducted and raided by ICE agents. 3 staff members got arrested, one of which I hold dear to my heart. That same staff member is one of the most charismatic, energetic, passionate people in our schools. Every time I walk past his office, there's always a line past his office of students waiting for him. And those same students watched him get plummeted to the ground. Those same students were pepper sprayed by these very ICE agents that are right in front of us right now. And that is the exact same reason why I'm out here. 28,000 students are out of school because of ICE, and because parents are afraid to send their kids to school. And if we live in that kind of world, then like every single person has to drop everything and fight against this outrageous like tyranny and fascist government that's happening right now.
It's weird that a senior in high school knows better than so many adult Americans that have lived longer and have experienced more things and apparently should have learned something about what aggression and fascism and what an overreaching government looks like. This kid knows. He watched the people that he admires, that teach him, that he can no longer go see anymore, get pummeled and arrested right in front of him before they get attacked as well. But somehow he knows. Isn't that embarrassing? Like, it should really be embarrassing to watch teenagers tell us how effed up we are. It should embarrass you enough to change the way that you react to these types of things. It's, they like to say, the kids will be all right. The kids will be all right as long as we continue to protect them, because that's who they're coming after next. And the Hitler Youth that they, have under their wing, those are the good ones. That's what they're looking to increase in numbers. You got to keep fighting back, because everything they do is a fight. That's how they act. Here, let's shift gears here now. I thought it was pretty important to check out the resistance. I'm going to keep checking out the resistance. If you guys want to keep seeing the resistance, I'm going to keep showing it and telling it to you every time here. So come back if you like seeing the resistance. I know you guys watch a lot of it online. I check out too much of it myself. I need to detach sometimes. So even if I'm missing some of it, you guys, it's my name. I'm over on Instagram. Come send me some videos of resistance. I love seeing it. That's what I've been craving. That's what I've been looking for. Let's get more of it going. We need some more people that are brave enough to step into the streets, and we know because they're ready to attack. So yes, it does take bravery. I understand that completely. Let's move on though. Look, we got these guys attacking us in the streets, murdering folks, acting like that's where they're supposed to be. But at the same time, back at the Ivory Tower, back in the Golden Dome, Donald Trump is meeting with oil executives to try and carry out the next phase of his takeover of yet another country. We've all heard about it, but did you hear what he was exuding in this meeting? Did you hear the main point that he made?
So, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership.
And you really suffered there. You stuck it out. A lot of people left. A lot of big companies left. Many of the people sitting at this table left because of the safety.
Wait, say what? He said you suffered through it, but did you hear what they had to suffer through in that particular moment? What they had to suffer through as Donald Trump was talking there was apparently wet farts coming out of Donald Trump's ass. Here, in case you guys missed it, here it is again. Nasty sumbitch.
And you really suffered there. You stuck it out. A lot of people left. A lot of big companies left. And you really suffered there. You stuck it out.
And you really suffered there. You stuck it out.
Oh, they stuck it out, and they're definitely suffering there. I wasn't in the room. I wasn't in the Ivory Tower, but he was surrounded by his cabinet members, and they had to sit next to him, smell, and maybe see a couple of spurts jump out of his pants as he's sitting in the chair talking about how they need to suffer through it. The problem is these oil and gas company CEOs are all in the room, and they're like, yo, we got plenty of gas reserves on our own, Donnie. We don't need yours that are coming from your bowels, you nasty stank son of a bitch. But he's not only nasty and stank and farts all over the place. What he does is he's a little bit too detached from reality to realize when his lackey Marco Rubio hands him a note, and it's supposed to be a secret note for him to read and stop all that rambling.
All right, thank you. You'll make it back one way or the other. You're all going to do very well. I think really very well. Marco just gave me a note. Go back to Chevron. They want to discuss something. Go ahead. I'm going back to Chevron, Marco. Thank you, Marco.
Was there a question, Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead, Marco. What are you saying here?
Mark, if you
increase.
can update us on operations in the ground and with the appropriate approvals, what you might be able to achieve in the next 12 to 18 months, give us a little view from the ground.
You bet. You bet. So today, Chevron has 3,000 employees in 4 different joint ventures in Venezuela today. And over the past 5 to 7 years, they've taken production from about 40,000 barrels a day to 240.
All right. Thank
Did you guys notice? Mark Rubin handed the note. Detached from reality, senile Donald Trump was like, look, there's a note from Marco Rubio. But the whole time, Marco Rubio's stomach went into his throat. He's like, luckily, I mean, unluckily for us, it wasn't maybe one of the other notes where he maybe said something so much more personal or so much more direct that we're not supposed to hear about. But I want you guys just to watch Marco Rubio once this dum-dum reads the message out loud to go back to Chevron. We want to talk about Chevron. We want to talk about this, not those stupid ramblings you keep going on. So watch Marco Rubio's face. He was shook. He had to smile his way through it. He's like, oh, God, don't read the note, Donnie.
Thank you, Mayor. You'll make it back one way or the other. You're all going to do very well. I think really very well. Marco just gave me a note. Go back to Chevron. They want to discuss something. Go ahead. I'm going back to Chevron, Marco. Thank you, Marco.
Was there a question?
There was no question. It was just Marco Rubio. He whipped his head really fast. He's like, oh, shit. You stupid son of a bitch. That's the fun part. That's the part where it reveals, just how incompetent and detached this guy really is and how he's just in these meetings and everyone's just trying to keep him somewhat focused on the propaganda that they're pushing to siphon more money out of us, to feed to more oil companies, to go and steal more of it resources from another country. So here's one of those oil barons speaking about where he's coming from and the issues he's got with this guy and his failed businesses and his dumbass plan in Venezuela.
With respect to Venezuela in particular, we have a very long history in Venezuela. In fact, we first got into Venezuela back in 1940s. We've had our assets seized there twice. And so you can imagine to re-enter a third time would require some pretty significant changes from what we've historically seen here and what is currently the state. If we look at the legal and commercial constructs and frameworks in place today in Venezuela, today it's uninvestable. And so significant changes have to be made to those commercial frameworks, the legal system. There has to be durable investment protections, and there has to be a change to the hydrocarbon laws in the country. We're confident that with this administration and President Trump working hand in hand with the Venezuelan government, that those changes can be put in place.
Uninvestable, says Exxon CEO Darren Woods. Don't celebrate Darren Woods. Darren Woods is breaking down all the reasons why he feels it's uninvestable, because if not for the uninvestable part, Darren Woods would be all on board. Matter of fact, Darren Woods and them have been all on board for a while, as he pointed out. And we've had issues in Venezuela. We've been really trying to steal resources and siphon it and make our money off of it. But man, it's hard. Man, so this is uninvestable. We've tried it multiple times, Donnie. This is a bad deal. We've been pushing for this under previous presidents. They all let us do this shit. But you going and invading and then promising us money to do all this, I don't think you really know how hard this would be. This might be a little bit tough. So don't give Darren Woods any fucking flowers. Darren Woods is also an oil baron that steals resources and displaces people and makes sure that murder happens. That's Darren Woods. He just had a little bit of protecting himself in that truth telling that he had. And because he had to tell a little bit of truth about how they didn't want to lose more money in Venezuela because they're looking to make more money in Venezuela or anywhere else, Donald Trump responded when he was back on Air Force One with, his clown Caroline Leavitt standing behind him. He wasn't very happy with Darren Woods.
Companies make commitments to you, sir? Have any oil companies made commitments to the United States after your meeting on Friday, sir? Which has it have Exxon?
I don't want to say. No, I didn't like Exxon's response. We have somebody that wanted, I'd probably be inclined to keep Exxon out. I didn't like their response. They're playing too cute.
Companies make commitments to you.
How does that make any sense? So the idea is, I don't like their response. Exxon, maybe I'll Exxon out of the experience. If you have to Exxon out, isn't it weird that Exxon just said they don't want anything to do with this quagmire you're getting yourself into, and that you say you're going to pay us with American tax dollars to do more of? It's weird that he thinks after being clowned like that, that he can then say, I'm Xing them out. Maybe they shouldn't be a part of it. I think he just said he doesn't want to be a part of it, you dumb. But between the farts and the embarrassing moments from the people that actually were trying to find some way to make some more money and pay this guy, these guys to make all their money off of paying him to be the fascist that he is, he wasn't having it at one point. He didn't enjoy all of the pushback. So he reverted to what he was really thinking about.
I got to look at this myself. Wow. What a view. This is the door to the ballroom. Unusual time to look, but I figure we might as well do it. If the fake news would like to go back and take a look, you can, but you'll see a very big foundation that's moving. We're ahead of schedule in the ballroom and under budget. I got to look at this.
Maybe he had to get up to, release a little bit more. Maybe his pants were brown in the back, and Marco had to hand him another note and say, sit down. I don't want to smell it. I'm sitting right next to you, but please sit down. Instead, he had to change up the energy by going and talking about his ballroom and the groundbreaking there. That's, by the way, that ballroom that's gone from 150 million to 200 million to 300 million to who knows how high they say it's going to get now. Donald Trump is building the Arc de Trump, and he's building ballrooms in his honor, because that's America first, and it's not actually Nazism. It's apparently it's none of that stuff. The guy's exposed. The guy's openly exposed, and we all see it. It's a matter of whether or not you want to be, with the loser, that piece of shit, or if you actually want to be on the side of this country that you kept talking about, you revere so much. Look, he went and did this afterwards too. Apparently, this is what he posted. Someone probably did it for him, and he's like, "That's funny." So he posted over on his Truth Social that he's the acting president of Venezuela. Maybe it was Lindsey Graham who drops to a knee immediately that was talking about how Donald Trump now runs Venezuela. Maybe it was him that posted it originally, and then Donald Trump said, I'll take that lackey's post and put it back up myself, because, every time they talk about how he's joking so much and he has so much fun with all this and he's trolling the left, when reality is what is happening is folks are understanding who it is this guy is, and fewer people are thinking, I'm openly, actively wanting to say I'm on the side of this trash. So no, it doesn't bug us that you post stupid things that don't make any sense. What's going to bug you is when you're no longer in a position to do those things anymore. Let's get this last one in. I got one more. Since we're talking about, international aggression, I think you guys might be able to know where the next international aggressive behaviors from this guy are coming from. It's that same place. It's not the country that you would assume off the bat, but it's definitely one that they've been talking about consistently, because this guy, he invades countries.
The policy question: how much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that, but right now we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too, I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also, but we need that, because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way.
Well, That's not surprising. The guy's been talking about how he wants to invade more countries anyway. The guy's talking about how he's collected more military might with our money and how he wants to increase that military budget to $1.5 trillion. That's it was already increased to 1 trillion because what he's trying to do is attack more people. And we could either do this the easy way or the hard way. Isn't that weird? It's like he's a mobster or something as he's talking about thugs and gang members and everything else that he says you're supposed to be afraid of. Just like he said you're supposed to be afraid of all the people who are going to attack Greenland. So instead, he's going to do it first. Weird. You're supposed to be against China and Russia attacking Greenland, but you're supposed to be for Donald Trump attacking Greenland. It's almost like there's, three groups that, you should totally be against attacking Greenland, but for some reason you have to be in support of him doing it. And don't let the irony slip by of him talking about just because a couple of ships landed on an island one day years ago doesn't mean it's yours. I got a whole bunch of indigenous folks who have those very same thoughts about how these boats landed on this land one day and suddenly it was theirs because they just figure it should be theirs. He just spouts out shit. Here's someone else who was on Real America's Voice. This guy, I'll tell you about him soon, but I want to first show you what he said in response to all this Greenland aggression.
We are like a family, but you don't come and fuck with us, yeah? You don't get this Greenland, yeah? It's not yours. You can base your troops there. You can have the minerals if you invest in it. It's very expensive, by the way, but you cannot take other people's land. In which American city you can take the house of your neighbor by force, yeah? Is this the new standards? You cannot do that, yeah? The Greenlanders don't want it, the Danish don't want it, and we Europeans don't want it. And it's a completely ridiculous idea to do it. Yeah, we also, you remember Zimmerman when he proposed Mexico to attack? Yeah, this is a harebrained scheme. You cannot. We are like a.
That guy with what, a lot of folks make fun of accents they're speaking. Was he said, you don't want to fuck with us. Who is this guy? Wait, hold on. Hold on. Who is this guy? His name is Gunther Fillinger Jan. Forgive me, I mess up people's names regularly. He's an economist recognized for his advocacy of NATO and European Union expansion. As the chairman of the Austrian Committee for NATO Enlargement, he promotes membership for Austria, Ukraine, Kosovo, and Bosnia to strengthen Western security alliances. He wants part of the, the protectionism from, madmen like Donald Trump. So his focus is usually on integrating these former Eastern Bloc and these Balkan states into Euro-Atlantic structures for their economic and geopolitical stability. That's what Gunther is about. But what he said was, you don't want to fuck with us. He doesn't have, official influence over NATO or anything, but he advocates for things and he advocates for these things quite loudly. If you hear that guy talk, and it's fun to hear the way he's pushing back, you would understand that it's just like the opposite of the president of the United States and the way he's been talking about what he wants to do to other countries. And if you think that other guy sounds crazy, look at this guy who has crazier hair and a crazier face and, says off the wall things all the time, except he'll back it up with our money.
We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
It's the same talking point. It's what J.D. Vance has been saying. It's what the rest of the lackeys have been saying. That was the agreed upon talking point. We need Greenland. We need it. We need it. We have to take it. This can be the easy way or the hard way. By the way, guys, I did hear that there was some internal pushback from some military aspects against what Donald Trump is pushing for Greenland. I understand that. I just haven't seen it fully, taking shape, and I'll believe it once we stop threatening it. So I understand it. I have seen it. I'm just not ready to push that as the final blow yet. But here's our buddy here, Gunther Fillinger Jan, one more time. He has a couple more words to say about this aggression towards Greenland.
And now he wants to take it. Of course he cannot take it. And I say, If you take it, we take every single base of the Americans from Aviano to Ramstein, from Romania to all the other military bases will be confiscated and you will lose it. And the whole position of American power since World War II, for which so many Americans were dying and so many trillions were spent in order to have American Europe, and we love it. We say thank you for liberation for the Nazis and from the Soviets to keep us safe, and for the liberation of Europe. That was all for America. Thank you very much. But if you take Greenland, you have to leave. It's very simple, Mrs. Miller. This is the leverage we have. You need the spaces for global power protection. You won't have it. And we can defend ourselves very well, and we will do that without the US nuclear shield, without the US troops in Europe, without the American bases. We will simply run these bases ourselves, and we run your boys home into Chicago, and Ohio. And goodbye. If you want war, we are ready, and that's definitely something we will win. Europe is for eternal, and we will also defeat the challenge of Putin and of Trump. And if you go extreme, we go extreme as well, Mrs. Miller. Be sure about it. Your European patriots. All the best, Mrs. Miller. Bye.
He was originally responding to what Stephen Miller and his wife were saying, Katie Miller, were saying about how they want to take over Greenland. I think they both posted that map with the United States flag over the shape of Greenland. So that was his response. Again, not an official Austrian man that's representing NATO or anything, but he's talking about how we should take away bases and all over the world, American bases. We're going to confiscate them if he's tied to attack, and we will fight this war. Again, listen, we've got the president of the United States who's speaking just like that, except he's got the authority to do these things in our name. That was Gunther Fillinger-Jahan. This, though, is a joint statement from the leaders of France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the UK, and Denmark. Let me read that, since, we need an official statement on it. Again, this is a statement from Macron, Chancellor Merz of Germany, Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, Prime Minister Tusk of Poland, Prime Minister Sanchez of Spain, and Prime Minister Stammer of the UK, and also the Denmark Prime Minister. And they say Arctic security remains a key priority for Europe and is critical for international and transatlantic security. NATO has made clear that the Arctic region is a priority, and European allies are stepping up. We and many other allies have increased our presence, activities, and investments to keep the Arctic safe and to deter adversaries. The Kingdom of Denmark, including Greenland, is part of NATO. This joint statement says security in the Arctic must therefore be achieved collectively in conjunction with NATO allies, including the United States, by upholding the principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, territorial integrity. So they're talking about how they're not going to play with this now. We've got allies coming together against the United States. Weird how that works. Allies in Europe coming together against the aggression that Donald Trump is trying to then push on everyone else. It's being reported by other agencies that aren't American, apparently. BBC News talked about it, and how they're all coming together against this aggression, almost like, we're this evil empire that's coming for anyone else with all this aggression, where Donald Trump says it's either the easy way or it's the hard way. Well, I hope that those reporting about folks inside the Pentagon that are pushing back, whose names apparently are Pete Hegseth, I hope that's true, but he's still talking like that. I've talked enough. There was more coming, but I've talked enough. I'm gonna jump over so you guys can, so I can do a little bit of chatting with John Iderola on the damage report. I'm gonna see you guys in a second. I'm just glad you guys, if you were able to see some of the resistance that's happening and also the destruction this guy's trying to do internationally as he attacks Americans at home. I'm gonna see you guys in a second. Appreciate you. The resistance is here.